another very important issue, which really broke me the first time Komla Adom, our colleague, shared the story. Weeks after she was rescued from the den of two self-styled pastors who kidnapped and raped her multiple times, 18-year-old Precious, not her real name though, is still traumatized by the incident. Her parents say she has now become suicidal and is struggling to recover from her 4-month-long ordeal. Watch the story when we return. We'll have a conversation with a psychologist and we'll see how best we all can contribute to getting her some support.
After all this, my dad has been going through ups and downs to make sure that I get a better treatment. But that is not what I want. What I want is that justice should be served. They shouldn't just go scot-free. You see, when they go scot-free, it happens that it will continue repeating itself again and again and again, and nobody will be saying anything about it. I want myself to be the last, because I don't like the way I'm feeling and I don't want someone else to go through that same pain.
It's been weeks, nearly a month after she was rescued, but 18-year-old Precious is still battling the scars of a 4-month-long experience of multiple sexual abuse at the hands of her captors.
They usually beat me with planks when they want to have sex with me every day. After this, they find out that I was months pregnant, and those boys checked, and then they gave me a drink. It's in the form of a water, but it's bitter, and when you take it, your stomach gets very hot and you started feeling very bad.
The two men, George Andrews and Maxwell Peter, who posed as pastors before kidnapping her, have been remanded and are set to reappear in court on September 16. Now, Precious's family is struggling to cater for the medical bills of the 18-year-old. Her mother says all her savings from operating a restaurant along the Aflao border have been spent trying to restore her to normalcy.
All that I have labored for years, since April, 21 of April, Easter Sunday, till today, all my money is finished. From this hospital to another, from this hospital to another, from this until we reach this Kolebu.
She says she is helpless.
And I'm just asking God, please, to help me. Let justice interfere in this my case, because I'm nobody. You understand me? I don't have anything. I'm nobody.
There is a bigger issue. She is suicidal.
As soon as you start talking about that thing, she becomes wild. She now easily gets angry. She wrote something which was a little bit disturbing. I gave it to the doctor that she feels like taking her life. We are taking treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where at the same time she has to be going to Aflao because of the police case, court case. You know, shuffling up and down, and this, and it creates a lot of problems.
He tells JoyNews his foster daughter's captors allegedly swore she would die if she told anyone about the ordeal.
She said the boys caught their hand and the blood was coming, and they were speaking, invoking, and caught her blood. And then they did blood covenant that if she dares reveal them, she will die. So that is one thing that's been haunting her. She asked me, will I die? I said, you will not die. So these are some of the traumatic concerns.
He is however encouraged by assurances by Ketu South parliamentary candidate and former deputy tourism minister Jifa Abla-Gomashi to facilitate his daughter's return to school once she recovers from the trauma.
She met the family and spoke to the mother and all that, and promised that she will go to the school where she was given placement, that is Awuku-Bekoe girls, and talk to them and see to it that she quickly become herself and go back to school. And I think that's good news.
The hospital will be almost her second home, and when night falls, she will be left on her own to battle her fears in the hope that this too shall pass. Reporting for JoyNews, Komla Adom and Ivy Setoji.
All right, so you've seen this very tragic story that Komla Adom filed for us. There is you know, various angles to this. We want to try and digest this issue a bit further, but in the end, we'll need your support as well. Komla Adom will join us at some point within the conversation. But let me introduce to you my guests. Mr. Adolf Awuku-Bekoe is a lecturer at the psychology department of the Methodist University. Is a psychologist, a member of the coalition coordinator of the coalition on domestic violence legislation in Ghana. Right. So you're very familiar. This is really your area. Thank you very much for coming through on this.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm tempted to ask what's the way forward, but I'm also confused. Is there a clear way forward? Because this is really a broken girl who was not just kidnapped, but she was also repeatedly raped. Helpless family. There is no justice. So that's why I say there are different angles to this. Let's talk about the personal one.
Well, I wouldn't begin from the personal one. I'll begin from asking whether there is a way out. If Ghana isn't a failed state, then absolutely there should be a way out, and I believe strongly there is a way out. Being broken doesn't commit you to a lifetime of misery. You can recover when systems are put at your disposal. You can recover from it. When interventions are arranged for you, you can recover from it. So it is tragic, it is horrendous what she has gone through, but it doesn't commit her to a life of misery.
But that's how it feels right now. I mean, who comes in, who steps in when such things happen?
We are talking about it. It is a way of stepping in. And I'm sure, as you rightly said, she's not going to be left on her own. And I don't think we should leave her on her own. Everyone must come to her rescue. And it must point us to building systems such that poor people who go through violence would have protection. Okay, we cannot say that this will never ever happen to poor people, to rich people. But when it happens to rich people, the systems can be bought with money to intervene. But when it happens to poor people, then the experiences that we're going through rear its head.
I mean, we had her mother. She says, I am a nobody.
I mean, it is heartbreak. That is the part that is heart-wrenching. I'm a nobody. Why should you live in a country that isn't failed, that is working, that is supposed to be working for vulnerable people, and you declare this about yourself? It really goes to the heart of systems that have been put in place to protect poor people. What poor people suffer is not the poverty. It is the violence that they go through every day and lack of protection systems to get them out so that they can get back to their livelihood. They are minding their business. They are thinking about how they will make a livelihood. Unfortunately, stronger people, bullies, get into their way and abuse them. They don't give them peace to go about their livelihood. And when their peace is disturbed, it's difficult getting the protection that they demand. And that is unfortunately what is at the heart of the experiences of poor people.
I want us to talk to my colleague Komla Adom, who did the story with Volta Regional Correspondent Ivy Setoji. There's an update on this. Komla is joining us via Skype. Komla, first of all, we're calling this 18-year-old Precious. So let me, what's the updates? Where is she now? What are the parents saying?
All right, Mama V. So the latest is that she
has to be returned to Awuku-Bekoe Hospital nearly every day to continue the medications and reviews, as well as begin the therapy, which is going to be offered by psychologists. But as I speak to you now, Mama V, she has seen the psychologist just once. We understand that she has not actually even begun undergoing the therapeutic process. And for the parents, it is very distressing because now she's almost losing her speech, and she has to write on pieces of papers, and pass it to the father. If she wants to communicate something, she has to write it on a piece of paper and give it to the doctors. And so that is how distressing the situation has been so far for her. And it appears, from all indications and from what the parents tell us, very little help is coming their way.
Why is that, Komla? Why hasn't the therapy session, why hasn't it started?
We understand there's a few, documentation and paperwork, etc., that have to be concluded, which have not yet been done. And so that will have to be done before the process will start proper. Also, we understand there are some financial commitments that they have to make before this whole process begins.
Okay, but Komla, wait. This is an incident that happened and was reported to the police, correct?
Yes, it was.
Let me just hang in there. Mr. Bekoe, when these things happen, what's the procedure? Because should there be paperwork obstructing somebody getting the needed support?
Definitely there should be paperwork, but as to whether the paperwork should obstruct the help, I'm not too sure. Within the under the domestic violence law, there is a provision for free medical care.
Isn't that the famous fund?
But the fund is in operation.
Okay, and we have enough money in there.
As to enough money, I cannot say that.
Okay, so ideally, if you're using the law, then what should happen in this instance?
Well, the police is required to lead this person to a place where they can get help. Okay, so the police must do a lot of work. The Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit must do a lot of work to facilitate the healing process. So they would have to contact the Gender Ministry, which administers this fund, by writing to getting the domestic violence, the victims of domestic violence management board informed that this is what is happening and that we need some assistance.
So whilst all this is going on, this poor lady is still waiting?
No, once the police takes the survivor to a place of help, then it is the police responsibility and other agencies. We talk about coordinated response. There should be a one-stop shop. It is left rotten now. Thankfully, the police administration is seriously working on it to get it completed. We were told this just last week Friday. The IGP told us. We were in Awuku-Bekoe with them, and he told us that the police administration is seriously working on it. So for now, I think that if there is going to be a referral to Kolebu, then the police would have to really initiate this referral so that with the police cannot run away. So if there is any financial commitment, the police is there to be identified, so that she can get the help that she needs. We can talk about the finances better.
Let me bring in Komla. Komla, help us with the timelines. When did this incident happen? When was it reported?
So, Mama V, the incident happened on the 21st of April, Easter Sunday, according to what parents tell me. So this was a family of 3 who live in, a property along the Aflao border, and they operate a restaurant on the border as well. So these 2 individuals who claimed they were pastors came by one night that they were destitute. They had been robbed by robbers on the border, and so they had nothing, and so they needed a place to lay their head for the night. And so this the mother of this girl, Precious, took them in because they said they were pastors. After taking them in for a couple of days, they were still around. She gave them mobile phones to contact their family members in Nigeria so they could find a way of, getting them out of that situation, etc. But these people offered to lend a helping hand in the ladies' restaurant.
because according to what they tell me, they felt she was spending so much on them and they were not doing anything to help, and so they were going to help in the restaurant as you know, waiters, you know, and hands, so that the funds that are being expended on them in terms of shelter and food will be sort of, you know, made up for. So on Easter Sunday, you know, there was a celebration at the beach, which is close to where the woman operates her restaurant. And then these two individuals said they wanted to have pizza. And so together with the girl, the woman actually gave them money to go to the next pizza joint to get the pizza so they could have a celebration. And that was where it all started. The young lady tells me on their way to the pizza joint, a bottle of malt was bought for her, and she took the malt. Unknowingly, it had been dragged, and so that was all she remembered, or she could remember. And once she gained consciousness, she realized that she was in an uncompleted building, naked, in a pool of her own blood. She realized that she had been slept with. And then the individuals took pictures and photographs of her nakedness and threatened that if she ever escaped and told anybody about it, they were going to leak these pictures and videos. And so this is how it all started. This is April 21. And 4 months down the line, she was rescued. So the lady reported to the police the night she realized that her daughter was not returning from the trip to the pizza joint. She reported to Togo police first, from what she tells me. Then she came back to report to Aflao police, and then the search began. She tells me that the two individuals who captured her daughter kept contacting them and demanding monies. And so they called her one time and say they are in Nigeria, so she should come by, bring an amount of money to get the girl. She will travel all the way to Nigeria and meet nobody. Their phone numbers will not be going through. She'll have to return. They'll call again another time and say they are back in Ghana and they are in Sunyai. She'll travel all the way from Aflao to Sunyai. In anticipation to meet these people. She'll get there, she'll not meet them. So they've been shuffling through Nigeria, Togo, Ghana with a girl the whole time. And from what she tells me, one day, when they demanded the ransom, she had made 2.5 million naira available to give to them because they demanded it. And they had agreed to meet at a location where the monies will be made available to get the girl. And so with the collaboration of the police and a few people in the Akachi area, they laid ambush and then bashed in and then rescued the girl, with the police arresting the two individuals. So that is the story.
So where are the two arrested?
They are currently in police custody in Kidnap.
Okay.
This was transferred from Akachi police to the Kidnap police. On Monday they were in court, just that the investigators demanded 2 more weeks to carry out some more investigations, and so the case was adjourned to September 6th.
Okay, so Kamala, I want us to concentrate on Precious. What do they need now? Because we can't wait on all these paperworks and everything. You said she can't even speak now. She has to resort to writing. She's gotten suicidal. What can we do? What can our viewers do?
I guess the very immediate help she needs is the therapy, you know, somebody to work on her psyche, because the father tells me that now she gets easily agitated, she gets easily worked out at the least provocation, and she doesn't even want to speak about the incident at all. So anyone who wants to speak to her about it, she gets angry and she gets aggressive in the mood. And so immediately what she needs is the therapy, the psychological help to deal with the trauma, to get her out of this suicidal state that she's in, of course, but this will have to come with some financial commitment. The parents say they've exhausted everything they had.
Absolutely.
The father tells me that they've exhausted not less than 10,000 cedis, shuffling between hospitals, from Akachi Hospital to Kokrobite Hospital in Accra, to Akawe, to Kolebu Teaching Hospital. They spent so much money, and they are essentially dried out. And so that also is another angle we could
All right, Kamla, we'll leave it here, but that's not the end of the conversation. Thank you very much. Kamla did this with Ivy Setoji, our Volta regional correspondent. Mr. Bekoe, what can we do? Kamla has said this, but this requires some kind of financial, because we can't wait forever.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that I think that with the police mandated under the law, something could be done about it. Once it is the police spearheading the intervention process, that this is the person we have, a victim we have, these are the needs of the victims, It should be done. I don't think it should be outpatient care for her, given the extent of the trauma.
But with where we've gotten to, I mean, if you are that parent, you would want to get all the help for your child.
Absolutely, and I'm saying that because of the vulnerability of this family, state agencies must step in.
But they are not.
But
even if they
I mean, that would be unfair
slow.
Because the police.
But it's slow.
Slow, yes. But the horses. That is why.
Okay, so they can check themselves into a private facility then, or still go to the public facility and make the payment and get going.
Yes, that is why checking into a government facility will help with the financial bit of it, because it is the same government who will have to. I think that there is a fund, and we must test the fund. The fund, we know, is operational, and once a referral is being made to Kolebu and they get to Accra, I think the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit here at the head office can take charge and make sure that all the help that this victim needs is provided.
We'll end this conversation here, but this actually exposes the kind of system that we run, where when you find yourself in that real trouble where all these systems are supposed to come to your aid, there you are, and you're faced with the reality. Really what we are asking, because we want this resolved, so we're on behalf of the family pleading for support as well. If there's support out there.
One last thing. I think that intervention should not only focus on the victim, the family itself
as a whole. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We will bring this conversation back as we seek support for this family at this time, even whilst we still chase the system to see how the system can come in to help.